was, she's 17 now, but she's a ballerina, aspiring ballerina.
Mm.
I started out painting portraits of family and still do so.
Do you find it easier to paint your family?
I think it's easier in the sense that, that when you're really, obviously, that kind of love and affection, you combine it with a bit of skill and it's bound to come out better than some of your other stuff. So this palette system I've changed to completely. It's called a parallel palette. It's designed by contemporary realist painter in New York, David Kazan, who's become a friend and a mentor, very generous with his teaching. He has some fantastic teaching DVDs.
Oh yeah, he's an amazing artist.
Yeah, and so if you're sitting down, for example, or standing, it rests on a camera tripod. You can position it, instead of having to have your paint down here, you can pretty much have it level with the plane of your canvas. I find it pretty impossible, especially for the younger generation, to sit still for very long, and certainly not for weeks that I'd require for a realistic painting.
Sure.
So I work from photographs most of the time, but just in order to avoid the trap of photographic edge being pretty much sharp all over, I try and get most of the edges soft, or degrees of softness, and very few hard edges, and even try and lose some of the edges. The bridge of a nose, behind that bridge of a nose, you fall off on the precipice of this slope of a nose on the right hand side, so that edge is going to be probably the sharpest edge on the subject. All right, this is sharper at the under part of the nose than the cheek there, because the cheek's behind it, it's further back. So I try to get as many of the edges almost lost, maybe juxtaposing them with a slightly harder edge, and in a few places have a hard edge, but not many. Whereas the whole photograph is hard edged. You just don't want to be a slave to the photograph.